just
Okay.
see custom action works. Okay. ठीक है, 1 second. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Yeah, that's working fine. Thank you. Hare Krishna, let's offer prayers together and start our discussion. Today we have assembled here to read from Nectar of Instruction, that is Sri Upadeśāmṛta, and we'll be discussing the text 4 of Sri Upadeśāmṛta. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Vena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatade Shatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gautase Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sandhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopeish Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Nana Shastra Vichane Kanipano Sadharma Samsapakau Lokanamitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanyakaro Radha Krishna Padaravindra Bhajana Nandena Mattalikayo Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujaga Shri Jiva Gopalaka Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujaga Shri Jiva Gopalaka. Hare Krishna, welcome back again to this as a part of Bhakti Shastri program. Before we start with the 4th verse, let's take a look at this first 3 verses. We'll just recite the verses. Vacha vegam manasa krodha vegam jivva vegam udarupashta vegam etan veganyo vishaheta dhiraha sarvam apimam pritvam sashashyat atyahara prayashascha prajalpa nimagraha Janasangascha lalyam cha shadbhe bhakti vinashyati ussahanishya dharya tattat karma pravartanat sangatyagassato vrittihi sadbhe bhakti prasidhyati. So the first verse talks about the things which we should control on. Second verse talks about the things that we should give up. And third verse talks about the things which we should accept in our life. And now, 4th verse. If we want to share a screen, we can. Just everything's here now. Yes. We are on text number 4 now. Dadate pratigrahanati guhyamakyati prachati bunkate bhojyate chaiva shadvidham pritilakshanam. What meaning? Dadati gives charity. Pratigrahanati accepts in return. Goyam, confidential topics. Akhyati explains. Prachati inquires. Bhunkate eats. Bhojyate eats. Cha also. Eva certainly. Satvidham 6 kinds. Priti of love. Lakshanam symptoms. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Offering gifts in charity. So there are 6 items mentioned again. Offering gifts in charity, accepting gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasadam, and offering prasadam are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. Hare Krishna. So I'll just give a little bit of introduction to the subject matter, and then we'll take a look at to the purport of Śrīla Prabhupada. Srila Rupa Gosvami have identified 64 items of bhakti, which he has written in a book called as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Of those 64 items, 5 items are said to be most potent. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also speaks about it. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes about it in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And he says, Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavata Shravana Mathuravasa Shri Murtira Shraddhaya Sevana. Venuvadantu, your hand is up. Is you going to say something?
No, for reading.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe I'm not audible or something.
No.
Okay, yeah. All right. So, sadhu sangha, associating with sadhus, associating with Vaishnava, associating devotees is an art. And it is considered to be one of the very, very important element of Krishna consciousness. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Shri Krishna says, Dhyayato Vishriyan Pumsa Sangaste Supajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha, which means the kind of association we keep accordingly. Kama refers to desire. Sanga Sanjayate Kamaha, the kind of association we keep accordingly we develop desires. So Vaishnavism or Krishna consciousness is largely about relationship. And that's not only seen here. If you take a look at Lord Shri Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, is all about dealing with Vaishnavas, is all about having sweet, loving exchanges, which is our core strength of Krishna. To give you an example, there's this one very interesting pastime that come from Krishna Leela. Some of you might have heard of it, may not have heard of it. Is about a day when Lord Shri Krishna lost his flute. So one particular day, Lord Shri Krishna decided to have a dice game with Srimati Radharani. And while they said now to have a dice game, so they were betting, what to put on stake. If you win, I'll get this. If you win, you'll give this, etc. If you lose, you'll give me this. If I lose, I'll give you this. So they agreed upon, and there is a kind of a dice game going on. And in the first bet, Lord Shri Krishna put Kaustubha money, and without a doubt, Srimati Radharani won, and he gave the Kaustubha money to Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani is happy, Lalita Vishaka is happy, and Lord Shri Krishna is happy, and he's so happy thinking that Kaustubha money looks so bad, so beautiful on with Srimati Radharani. Then all right. Then for the second bet, Lord Shri Krishna put a necklace of pearl. And it just so happened, Lord Shri Krishna lost it again. Srimati Radharani won. Krishna was so happy to give the necklace of pearl to Srimati Radharani. And now Krishna was thinking, well, before we go for the third bet or third chance, what should I put on stake? So what is the dearmost thing to me? And Madhumangal said, Krishna, your flute. You should put your flute at stake. Krishna said, yes, I put my flute, the famous Basuri. I'll put that on stake. Everyone was excited. What's going to happen if Krishna loses it? Wow, Srimati Radharani gets that flute. And Krishna put that, and lo and behold, it just so happened again, Srimati Radharani won. There was a tremendous excitement in the gopis circle. The Srimati Radharani has won. She's going to get the flute. But when the time came for Lord Shri Krishna to give the flute, to his utter surprise, his flute was missing. So Lord Krishna's flute had been stolen away from Krishna himself. And Krishna has no idea. Krishna is saying, where is my flute? Madhumangal, you are a Brahmana. You are the best quality of Brahmana. Why don't you, with your astrological calculations and position of the constellations and your Brahma Tejas, figure it out? Where is my flute? And Madhumangal says, yes, I'll find it out. He says, does it all his calculation. In the meantime, when you find out who has the flute, in the meantime, Vrinda Devi comes running over there with her Sakhis, and she informs Srimati Radharani and Lalita and Vishaka, hey, what are you doing here? Your mother-in-law Jatila, she is walking towards Suryakund to see how you're performing your worship to Surya Narayan. And when this message came, everyone was shocked. Everyone forgot about what was going on that point of time. Mother Radhika, Lalita, Vishaka, they all ran to Suryakund, where actually they were supposed to be performing worship to Surya Narayan. And they ran over there. And in the meantime, somebody came and told Krishna and Madhumangal, one of the Gopa, that Jatila is going to Suryakund to see Radharani is performing worship or not. But if there is a worship, the worship can only happen if there is a Brahmana who chants the mantras. So here Krishna and Madhumangal dresses themselves as Brahmana. How many of you heard this pastime now, the famous pastime? Now Krishna and Madhumangal dresses like a Brahmana, and they are walking right beside Suryakund. In the meantime, Mother Jatila sees the mother-in-law of Srimati Radharani. She saw Krishna and Madhumangal dressed as she didn't saw them, she saw Brahmana boys. Effulgent Brahmana boys. She went running to them. Oh, Brahmana boys, you're from the family of Brahmana. They said, yes, we are from the family of Brahmana. Can you please come and chant mantras and make our worship successful? My family is doing worship to Suryadev here. And Krishna as a Brahmana said, no. We got nothing to do with ladies. We don't go any place where ladies are there. We'll not come. And they really made Jatila to really get down on her knees and beg Krishna and Madhumangal as Brahmanas that they should come, otherwise the whole worship would be spoiled. And there are a lot of things happened between them. Finally, Madhumangal and Krishna as a Brahmana said, okay, we'll come. Krishna and Madhumangal goes over there to Suryakund, and there they performed worship to Suryadev. And last year, Krishna chanted prayers to Suryadev. It is described, when this pastime is narrated, described, when Suryadevta heard his glories coming from the mouth of Krishna, he kind of melted. The movement of the sun stopped. He was in ecstasy, as if the sun is not moving. And everything when happened, finally, when the mantras have been offered, all that is done, then Jatila said to Srimati Radharani, Radharani, you should take blessing of Brahmana Devta. Offer your obeisances. Touch their feet. And Radharani, as an obedient daughter-in-law, she bowed down. The moment she bowed down, Krishna's flute, she had hidden within her bag, and it fell on the ground and came rolling down towards Krishna and Madhumangal. And now these two Brahmana boys are looking at, Arey, ye chor to koi aur nahi, chor to Srimati Radharani nikli, she has stolen. And Jatila was looking at, oh, how come Radharani has flute of Krishna? And then she said, Maya, actually, what happened yesterday, we were playing, and this flute came gliding down Govardhan. So I thought I should steal this flute because Krishna has caused terror in whole Brajamandal because of his flute. So therefore I lifted this, I picked this flute, and I wanted to go and throw in Yamuna far, far away so that nobody will ever get to, Krishna will never get this flute. So then Jatila picked up that flute. She said, all right, wonderful, my dear daughter-in-law, you have done wonderful thing. Let me take this flute and I'll throw it. And then Krishna as a Brahmana said, "Oh Maya, why are you taking so much effort? Anyways, we are going to Mathura. From Mathura, we're going to travel far, far in the forest. Give it to us, and we will throw it so far that Krishna would never get it." Long story short, Jatila gets convinced. She gives the flute back to Krishna. And Radharani all this while knew who these two Brahmana boys were. And then Jatila said, "Okay, so we should give some dakshina." Krishna as a Brahmana boy didn't accept it. He said, no, we don't accept any dakshina from ladies. But Madhumangal, he has his own ways to collect sweets every day. And he collected a whole bag of sweets from Radharani. So here the pastime concludes here at Suryakund. Jatila along with Radharani and Sakhis goes back. And here Krishna and Madhumangal goes back to the Gopas. And when they come back to Gopas, Balramji and all the Gopas are waiting there. And Balramji saw Krishna is coming back with his flute, and Madhumangal is coming with a big bucket of sweets, which are covered with a cloth. And Balramji asked Madhumangal, "Madhumangal, so what have you got?" Madhumangal said, "Nothing. It's none of your business." "Oh, why it's not our business? You brought something. What have you brought for us?" "Well, I have not brought something for you. Why, with my own Brahmanical tejas and purity, I have pleased Brajvasis today. I chanted mantras, and they've been pleased with my worship. They have given me charity. And this charity is only meant for Brahmana, high-class Brahmana like me. You Vaishyas, you're not qualified for it. So don't ask for it." Balramji said, "Arey, until yesterday, until this morning, we were friends. We were sharing whatever we had. And today you got your bucket of sweets. You don't remember us also like this?" And Balramji ordered his Gopa friends to attack Madhumangal. So one Gopa went behind Madhumangal. He caught hold of his eyes, and Madhumangal was saying, "Kisne pagda, kisne pagda?" Other Gopa went and snatched the bucket from his hand. And third Gopa went from behind and took out his dhoti. Fourth Gopa came in front and unraveled his dhoti from front. And like this, Madhumangal was crying, Madhumangal was laughing, Madhumangal was giving Brahmanical curses. "You wise, what have you done to a Brahmana like me? How dare you like this?" And this whole pastime goes on. Finally, Krishna comes and embraces Madhumangal. The moment Krishna embraces Madhumangal, Madhumangal is completely pacified. And another day in Vrindavan unfolds, unravels. And like this, every single day, the beautiful interactions that happens between Brajavasis centered around serving Shishi, Radha, and Krishna. Similarly, if you look back, so many beautiful pastimes are there from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. So this whole Krishna consciousness is all about developing loving relationships, having loving exchanges. And Srila Prabhupada, when you look at the purport, Prabhupada says, ISKCON, whatever we are doing in ISKCON, whatever our endeavors are there, it's just focused on facilitating this 6 symptoms of loving exchanges. So very, very important verse, one of the most important and vital verse for our own practice and for our own growth in Krishna consciousness. So let's take a look at the purport. After we have read the purport, we have had discussion. I'll give you an acronym for this verse to help you remember. I believe for more or less for each verse, we were giving some quick tips. Like for the previous verse, we gave ABCD formula, Utsaha Nishcha Dharya. And for this, we'll have another acronym just to remember what it means to be. All right, so let's take a look. How do we develop loving relationships with the Vaishnavas? And this is something which we have been doing in our life with Vaishnavas or maybe with non-devotees in the past. But here, Srila Rupa Gosvami have put it, summarized the essential principles together in a single verse, just to highlight, for any good, healthy relationship, these 6 exchanges must be there. Not 1 or 2, but if all of them are there, then it is a very, very favorable relationship. So let's begin with this. So this purport largely talks about 2 things. We can say 3 things: how to apply the 6 loving exchanges, with whom to apply, and with whom not to apply, from whom to refrain. These are the kind of high-level discussion of this purport. So let's take a look at it. Begin with the first paragraph of the purport. Venu Vadan Prabhu was in full Utsaha. So he has raised his hand long ago. So let's begin with him reading the first paragraph. Prabhu, go ahead.
Perfect. In this verse, Srila Rupa Gosvami explains how to perform devotional activities in the association of other devotees. There are 6 kinds of activities. 1. Giving charity to the devotees. 2. Accepting from the devotees whatever they may offer in return. 3. Opening one's mind to the devotees. 4. Inquiring from them about the confidential service of the Lord. 5. Honoring prasada or spiritual food given by the devotees. And 6. Feeding the devotees with prasada.
Hare
And
Krishna.
yeah.
Just 1 second, Bhuji. So do we acknowledge and agree that we all have done these things? For example, let's say a marriage ceremony. If you happen to be the host, then, you have, given gifts to the guests who have come. You've made an arrangement for prasadam and whatnot, and we have had our own relationship with whom we can share our heart or inquire. We all have done that. Well, there is a major difference when we are discussing this verse now. Here in this verse, everything is done in the spirit of seva, not obligation. There's a big difference here. As part of our culture, we have come from a culture background where, any event, if we organize, any festival we organize, there would be a arrangement for dinner, arrangement for food distribution, not necessarily prasadam distribution, but food distribution. And that is accompanied with giving some gifts to the guest that has come to our house, isn't it? But that is largely done as a part of our application because that's a cultural setup. But here, when we're talking about it, it is done with an understanding to please a Vaishnava, not merely an obligation, with an understanding that I want to serve you, I want to please you. Just like I kind of intentionally picked up this example of Lord Shri Krishna's missing flute, because here comes a very interesting thing where Srimati Radharani and Lord Shri Krishna, in one way, they came together to play a gambling match. A gambling match is one of the against the regulative principles. The gambling leads to greed. Then why did Krishna agreed for a gambling match? Or why did Srimati Radharani and Krishna came together to play a dice game or gambling match? The core principle of that was because they wanted to please each other. So Krishna losing the dice game was making him more happy than winning the dice game. The whole essence of that spirit was to serve. Therefore, I kind of chose that, kind of a story to begin with, to bring this point. It's about pleasing other, and that's how this verse has to be applied and looked into it. All right, Venuvardhan Prabhu, please continue reading.
An experienced devotee explains, and an inexperienced devotee learns from him. This is Guhyam Akhyati Prachati. When a devotee distributes prasada, remnants of the food offered to the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, in order to maintain our spirit of devotional service, we must accept this prasada as the Lord's grace received through the pure devotees. We should also invite pure devotees to our home, offer them prasada, and be prepared to please them in all respects. This is called Bhukte Bhojayate Chaiva.
Hare Krishna. So, all right. So this is how Prabhupada kind of opens it. How to apply the 6 qualities. It is to be applied in the mood of service with an intention to please the object of a service. Now, Prabhupada gives an example. In the next paragraph, Prabhupada focuses on why is ISKCON so successful? Or why did our movement become so successful in a short span of time? Mithil Prabhu, please read. And the next paragraph, Prabhupada is going to make a point because we have successfully applied the 6 loving exchanges. Okay, before we read, let me give you a little clue here. Have you noticed how Srila Prabhupada designed the flow of any class? If you take a look at it, how Prabhupada classes would happen, the classes generally Prabhupada give class, or the culture of classes, it begins with Jai Radha Madhava, right? And then Kirtan, agreed? And then followed up with a Krishna Katha, correct? Which is followed up with Prasadam. Agreed? So look at it, think about it. In these three activities which have just happened, this NOI text 4 is the foundation of it. Based on this NOI text 4, the flow has been decided. Let me tell you how, if in case you haven't yet cracked it. Now the charity, dadati pratigranati, the highest charity is to give Krishna. So by getting into chanting of the holy names, that's the highest thing. That's a charity. Pratigranati is to accept. And when audience, the listeners, they receive and they also reverberate the chanting of holy names of the Lord. So the beginning of the class begins with Dadati Pratigranati. Then we have a discourse. We have Krishna Katha. That is to the second step, Guhyam Akhyati Prachati. You share the confidential topic and you inquire. And then audience asks questions. We have this format. So Dadati Pratigranati Guhyam Akhyati Bhojate, Guhyam Akhyati Prachati. And then third, what happens? Punkate Bhojate Chaiva. And then you serve prasadam and the audience receives prasadam. Shadvidham Priti Lakshanam. So our class ideally should follow this format. And just subtly, without even knowing, we are engaging in 6 loving exchanges. Isn't it? So that's a formula in action over here. All right. So let's take a look at it. Mithil Prabhu, please read.
Dandavat Prabhuji. Even in ordinary social activities, these 6 types of dealings between 2 loving friends are absolutely necessary. For instance, when one businessman wishes to contact another businessman, he arranges a feast in a hotel and over the feast openly expresses what he wishes to do. He then inquires from his business friend how he should act, and sometimes presents are exchanged. Thus, whenever there is a dealing of preeti or love in intimate dealings, these 6 activities are executed. In the previous verse, Srila Rupa Gosvami advised that one should renounce worldly association and then keep company with the devotees. In the bracket, Sangha Tyaga Sato Vrutteha. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness has been established to facilitate these 6 kinds of loving exchanges between devotees. This society was started single-handedly, but because people are coming forward and dealing with the give and take policy, the society is now expanding all over the world. We are glad that people are donating very liberally to the development of the society's activities, and people are also eagerly accepting whatever humble contribution we are giving them in the shape of books and magazines dealing strictly with subject matter of Krishna consciousness. We sometimes hold Hare Krishna festivals and invite life members and friends to participate in the feasting by accepting prasada. Although most of our members come from the higher rungs of society, they nonetheless come and take whatever little prasada we are able to offer them. Sometimes the members and supporters inquire very confidentially about the methods of performing devotional service, and we try to explain this. In this way, our society is successfully spreading all over the world, and the intelligentsia of all countries is gradually appreciating our Krishna consciousness activities. The life of the Krishna conscious society is nourished by these 6 types of loving exchange among the members. Therefore, people must be given the chance to associate with the devotees of ISKCON, because simply by reciprocating in the 6 ways mentioned above, an ordinary man can fully revive his dormant Krishna consciousness. In Bhagavad Gita 2.62, it is stated, Sangata Sanjayate Kamataha. One's
Kamaha.
Kamaha. One's desires and ambitions develop according to the company one keeps. It is often said that a man is known by his company, and if an ordinary man associates with devotees, he will certainly develop his dormant Krishna consciousness. The understanding of Krishna consciousness is innate in every living entity, and it is already developed to some extent when the living entity takes a human body. It is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 22.107, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabhu Naya Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaye Udaya. Pure love
Hare
for
Krishna. All
Hare
right.
Krishna.
We'll read it in a while because this is a long paragraph.
Yes, Prabhu.
So we might just forget what is the subject matter if we keep
Correct.
on reading. So before we move forward, I'll just do a quick recap again, because I'm going to take a look at this verse from different angles or bring different points here. So again, let's going back to the what we started our discussion with. We are on text 4, and it talks about developing relationships. It talks about 6 loving exchanges, which facilitates Priti Lakshana, or you can say these are the symptoms of loving relationship. And why it is of importance for us, Vaishnavism is centered around relationship. Our progress depends not on Kirtan, but Sankirtan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said among the 64 elements, the 5 most potent, Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavad Shravana, Mathurava, Shrimurtira, Shraddhaya Sevana. So that's how we began our discussion. Sadhu Sangha is most important. Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura prays, Oh Vaishnava Ṭhākura, Dayara Sagara, like that. And this is not just over here, this is what the nature of spiritual worlds. And we gave an example, starting with the story of incident when Lord Shri Krishna's flute went missing. So those pastimes I had discussed to help you relate with this. And then we talked about how Madhumangal, so in that same pastime sequence, once Krishna's flute goes missing, it was kind of taken by Lalita Devi, and from Lalita Devi, Radharani took it. And the same pastime concluded with Madhumangal gets in charity sweets. And then sweets were stolen by Gopas and Balramji like this. And then they had, that loving thing. In fact, it is mentioned if you read Krishna book, every morning, Vishnu Thakur writes, somewhere around 8:30, 35, they will go for, go to the forest. And when it would be 8:30, all the Gopas would be so restless. Their mothers would be dressing the Gopas, but the Gopas would be looking outside the window. Arey, abhi tak basuri ki awaaz nahi aayi, abhi tak basuri ki awaaz bhi nahi aayi. They were so eager just to go and associate with Krishna and go and travel outside in the forest for the whole day. While the gopis are back at home, they would be like with a sad face looking on the direction where all the cowherd boys went to graze the cows. When would these boys come back? When would Krishna come back? Anyways, like this, there are many, many beautiful pastimes that Vaishnavism or Krishna consciousness in these relationships. So then we began discussion about the purpose, how to apply the 6 qualities. Prabhupada speaks in the second paragraph. Prabhupada talks about why is ISKCON successful. ISKCON is successful because we facilitate the 6 kinds of loving exchanges between devotees. How do we facilitate 6 kinds of loving exchanges? I gave an example of our classroom setup. Any program, any discourse that happens, even within that discourse, the 6 loving exchanges are happening. So once again, the Dati Pratigranati is, before the beginning of the class, the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra prayers, or the songs that we sing. Then Guhyamakyati Prachati is the class itself, discourse, and then inquiry that comes. And then it has to be followed. It is always followed up with Bhonkate Bhojate Chaiva, serving of prasadam. Because we are engaging into this, that's the whole core point of the second paragraph. Therefore, ISKCON is so successful. And the third thing, Prabhupada, let's just make a third point in that way. Prabhupada says, Sangha Sanjayate Kama. This is second chapter, 62 verse of Bhagavad Gita. The kind of association you keep, the kind of desires you cultivate. So ISKCON is giving the association of sadhus through this 6 loving exchanges. Therefore, the desires of the masses are changing. And more people are taken to Krishna consciousness. This is the secret. And now from this perspective, if you look about the history of ISKCON and how ISKCON had been successful, you know the reason for it. So just 1 or 2 points about preaching programs. In our preaching programs, particularly, not particularly for all programs in general, and the quality of Kirtan that we do, the quality of our discourse, and also the quality of prasadam, it should be high class. When these things are of, of a certain standard and quality, then it definitely attracts the heart. Even if among the three things, let's say a new guy is not able to relate to Kirtan for a second, or maybe just getting spaced out, he slept off during that class, but the quality of prasadam is great, he or she would come back remembering that, "Arey yaar, prasadam bahut acha banate hain log." And he or she would come back. And that's how people keep coming back. And finally they hear, some Krishna Katha goes, some Kirtan goes, and they're sitting in the association and they see everyone chanting, "Let me chant." They also begin to reciprocate. And that's how this whole process works. That's the thing. And then this paragraph concludes with Prabhupada saying, well, we all are servants of the Lord. It's just covered over, our intelligence is covered over. And Prabhupada quotes, "Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sathya Kabhunai Shavanadhi Shuddha Chitte Karahe Udai." Pure love for Krishna is eternally established in the hearts of living entities. All right, let's continue further. Mother Leela Nandini, your hand is up. Go ahead, read the paragraph.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
It is not something to be gained from there.
Yeah. It is not something to be gained from another source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, the living entity naturally awakens. Since Krishna consciousness is inherent in every living entity, everyone should be given a chance to hear about Krishna. Simply by hearing and chanting Shravanam Kirtanam, one's heart is directly purified and one's original Krishna consciousness is immediately awakened. Krishna consciousness is not artificially imposed upon the heart. It is already there. When one chants the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the heart is cleansed of all mundane contamination. In the first stanza of his Sikshashtaka, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "Cheto darpanamarjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam shreya kairava chandrika vidaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnam rishtaswadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam." All glories to Sri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is a life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So here, again, the same point Prabhupada is building up. Krishna consciousness is inherent in every living entity. So right now, Prabhupada is just setting a scene. Prabhupada is going to speak about each of these elements, what it means, but he's just setting up a scene here. Everyone should be given a chance to hear about Krishna. And just by Shravanam and Kirtanam, one's heart will be purified and his Krishna consciousness immediately awakened. And that's an interesting point also. Our all efforts and endeavors that we do, all organization and management that we do is towards only one goal, and that is to facilitate Shravanam and Kirtanam, to give an opportunity to people at large so they can hear about Krishna and they can chant or they can take part in Sankirtan. That's the objective to be fulfilled, for which we are doing all the management like this. And then Prabhupada talks about, and for this relation, Prabhupada quotes, so when one gets an opportunity to chant the holy names, then Cheto Darpana Marjanam happens. And when the heart is purified, when it's purified of sinful past reactions, now he can understand Krishna Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and naturally get situated in his original constitutional positions. All right. Not only is the chanter of the Mahamantra purified. Mother Priyanka, go ahead and read the next paragraph. There's a big paragraph. We'll break it into pieces and read it. Please read it.
Not only is the chanter of the Mahamantra purified, but the heart of anyone who happens to hear the transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare is also cleansed. Even the souls embodied in lower animals, insects, trees, and other species of life also become purified and prepared to become fully Krishna conscious simply by hearing the transcendental vibration. This was explained by Thakur Haridas when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired from him how living entities lower than humans can be delivered from material bondage. Haridas Thakur said that the chanting of the holy names is so powerful that even if one chants in the remotest part of the jungle, the trees and animals will advance in Krishna consciousness simply by hearing the vibration. This was actually proved by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself when he passed through the forest of Jharikhanda. At that time, the tigers, snakes, deer, and all other animals abandoned their natural animosity and began chanting and dancing in the Sankirtana. Of course, we cannot imitate the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but we should follow in his footsteps. We are not powerful enough to enchant the lower animals such as tigers, snakes, cats, and dogs, or entice them to dance, but by chanting the holy names of the Lord, we can actually convert many people throughout the world to Krishna consciousness. Contributing or distributing the holy name of the
Please
Lord.
highlight this point. Contributing, which Mother Priyanka is reading. Please highlight this point. Yes.
Contributing and distributing the holy name of the Lord is a sublime example of contributing or giving charity, the Dadati principle. By the same token,
what is the Dadati principle? Is giving the charity of holy names. And that's the reason we said when we have a class, the model of class is based on the 6 loving exchanges, because class begins with the chanting of the holy names. Dadati, Pratigrahanati. Yes, continue.
By the same token, one must also follow the Pratigranati principle and be willing and ready to receive the transcendental gift. One should inquire about the Krishna consciousness movement and open his mind in order to understand the situation of this material world. Thus, the Guyam Akhyati principle can be served.
Hare Krishna. So, Prabhupada largely speaks about chanting of the holy names of the Lord, the importance of it. And Prabhupada says this is the sublime example of contributing or giving charity. So 2-3 things, again, in the last paragraph we discussed, whatever we do in our Krishna consciousness and all kind of organizational management is towards fulfilling one goal, is to create an opportunity for people at large to hear about Krishna. First thing. Among the charity that we do or charitable programs we organize, is again the goal of that is to facilitate chanting of the holy names. Which means, how do you facilitate chanting of the holy names? So one is you directly encourage people, you directly get involved in preaching programs, or we finance preaching programs, support preaching activities, because through that we get to organize programs wherein people come and attend program and then they get an opportunity. You're getting it? So there's all aspect of charity here. All right. So the 2 things that are going in my head right now, so let's probably discuss that. And then we'll go to Guyam Akhyati Prachati. The first is, at least we have seen the Dati Pratigranati up until now, and Prabhupada is going to make some more points into it. There is so much discussion in general about love. You know, there's so many movies made on it, novels written, songs sung about the subject of love, but it always have remained an ambiguous term, what it is. I was recently making a point in one particular training program. Then Krishna consciousness, just like Krishna consciousness is a process, which means everything within Krishna consciousness or spiritual life is a process. And I was giving an example of, I was once making a dough. This is right in the beginning days of my Krishna consciousness back in America, Columbus. And I just didn't know how to make a dough, and it just, at times we can say we are shy, or at times we are just negligent that we need to ask before how we do it. So I was given a task, prepare a dough. So you can prepare a dough? हाँ, क्यों नहीं कर लेंगे, सब कुछ कर लेंगे हम सब कुछ करते हैं. So I was just making dough. I didn't know. I mean, of course, I prepared dough before, but I'm now preparing a dough for Janmashtami event. There's a big event, more than 300, 400 guests going to come. We are making a dough for that. So I'm adding water. I add water, then I add atta. Then it becomes too tight. Then I add water. Then I add water. Then it becomes too liquid. Then I add atta. वो करते 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 वो मैं सिर्फ उसको घोल ही रहा था, कुछ हो नहीं रहा था. So the devotee under whom I was serving was Mother Kamari, Śrīla Prabhupada disciple, who was the head cook who would do all the cooking. She saw my struggle for a while. तो उन्होंने शुरुआत में तो कुछ नहीं कहा, बोला ठीक है नया नया लड़का है, डांटूंगी तो बेचारे का कॉन्फिडेंस कम हो जाएगा. But then she saw that I was going nowhere. I was just creating a mess there. Then she finally turned to me. She said, "My dear boy, why don't you say you don't know it? I can tell you now. You're struggling for so long. By the meantime, you have spent so much time just to prepare a dough. I would have fried puris in this much time." So what do I say? I said, "Mother, I thought you're so busy doing so many things. I thought I would do it. What's the big deal? Just you have to add some water and I have to have some atta and then just wrestle with it. And you have a dough." And then she said something very interesting. She said, "Please know one thing. In Krishna consciousness, everything is a process. Which means if you follow a process, life becomes very easy. So to make a dough is also a process. For this much amount of flour, you have to add this much quantity of water. If you follow that formula and the process, you will be able to come to the result, or you'll be able to create make a nice offering with that effort." And then it kind of hit me very hard. And it's a big subject. I'm just giving you a little clue here. And from that perspective, if you look at it, everything in spiritual life is a process. Srila Rupa Gosvami gives a process. I often call process as a model, actually. It's just because it helps my mind to really take a look into the, model means step 1, step 2, step 3. You can call it as process, vice versa. Srila Rupa Gosvami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu gives a process of bhakti. Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, then he describes the process, how it functions. Then raga and nuga bhakti, then that's a process, how it functions. So even the journey of our life in Krishna consciousness is a process. It's not a random event. It just doesn't happen like this, that I can do anything any day. Srila Prabhupada gave us a model. Yes? 16 hours of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, full morning program, reading and hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, eating Krishna Prasadam. When? Every day. He gave a model. And if you follow that model, your day should start with it. So like this, everything is about, a process or a model. Similarly, this verse, now if you look at this verse, it gives us a model of how to build relationships. How to have loving relationship with each other. This is the verse that gives us a model. And this model has 3 primary steps. Give gifts, receive gifts. Share your heart, hear others' heart also. And the third step is feed prasadam, which means invite for them for prasadam, serve prasadam, and also receive prasadam from them. You cannot skip any of it. You cannot be the one who only shares but not hears. You cannot be the one who only receives but never gives. Therefore, if you look at it, 4th chapter, verse number 34 also, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena. Then what happens? What is the next verse? The next word? Pariprashnena.
Sevaya.
Sevaya. You see that? You ask a question and then you serve. You see this give and take? It is not that you can just keep asking. Otherwise, why Lord Shri Krishna said, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadeshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshinaha. Why did he emphasize brought sevaya here? So there has to be give and take. There has to be a give and take. And that's how relationship develops. And when by your service, the self-realized soul is pleased, then he will impart knowledge to you. So that's how this whole system works. That's how the model is given here about. So I was making a point, we talk a lot about love, love, love. So here we are given a process, we are given a model for love, what actual love means. And these are the things which happens in love. Let's give an acronym for this. You can, okay, let me go for acronym. Okay, let's go for acronym. So love means to serve other, right? That's what we understand as definition. Serve means to care for this, isn't it? So let's give an acronym for this particular shloka. So I don't have a slide, bear with me, so you can write it for yourself. So the acronym for this shloka is CARE, C.A.R.E. C stands for charity. Dadati pratigranati. Clear, everyone? Okay. A stands for accepting. Bhunkate bhojita chaiva. A for accepting, which means accepting prasadam, giving prasadam. That is A. Then R. R stands for revealing one's heart. Guhyam akhyati prachati. Is it okay so far? And E stands for ecstatic emotions. That is, or ecstatic feelings. And that is Shadvidam Priti Lakshanam. When the C.A.R is followed, then E for ecstasy, which means the sense of joy. When you look at the Vaishnava, like, wow, Prabhu, how are you, Prabhu? So happy to see you. And that ecstatic emotion comes out. This is the model. This is the process here. Is that all clear? Sorry, fellows. So it's been a while that I prepared made a PPT now. So I hope you're able to catch all these things. Otherwise, I could have thought of writing also. But okay, anyways. So C.A.R.E like this. So that's the first aspect of our discussion. Not the first aspect, another way of looking at it. Any clarification on this? It is not clarification. I'm not saying for question, but did you got this model? C.A.R.E. C for charity, A for accepting, R for revealing, E for ecstatic emotions. And now it refers to 4 lines of the verse. Okay? All right. Let's go to the next point here. So this verse is talking about building healthy relationships. Okay. So I want all of you to lower down your hands. Bring your hands down now. Reset your, your volume to read Prabhupada purport right now. Let's calm down with that. Let's have a little discussion here. Then we'll go for that. So, this was Dadati Pratigranati Guyamakyachi Prachati Bunkate Bhojita Ichaiva Shadvidam Pratilakshana. It's talking about building healthy relationship. Now, with whom do we build? Of course, these are the things. But with whom do we build? To be able to connect with somebody, what is the thing needed? Or with whom would you like to do this? Or, what should I say? What is that one quality that you would look for in a person? Where you would like to invest in a relationship? Am I making sense? Highlight one quality that you would like to look for in a person where you would like to invest in a relationship and have the 6 loving exchanges. What is that one thing? Madhamadani, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danda Pranam. Prabhuji, similar interests.
Okay, one word. Shashwat Prabhu, go ahead.
Common goal.
Common goal. Okay. Why am I window saying Bhagavati Priya?
Sorry, apology for that. It is Mataji's name. I forgot to rename it.
Oh, okay. I thought something happened wrong with my eyes. Okay.
It's absolutely
I said, what am I seeing? Okay. Yes, Prabhuji, yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes,
so maybe who is not exploitative and really a well-wisher?
Sorry. Give me one word answer.
Yeah, who is not exploitative in mentality? Who is
exploitative, not exploitative. Okay, very nice. Mahesh, yeah, sorry, you should write your initiative name. During the class, I forget all that. Yes, go ahead.
It would be like spiritual inclination.
Say that again.
Spiritual inclination.
Spiritual inclination. Looks like I'm kind of didn't make my question clear. All of your answers are looking on periphery here. let me again reiterate. My question is, very specific question. There are many Vaishnavas also. Now, all the Vaishnavas, with whom would you like to really invest into this relationship? What is that one thing that you would like? And the reason I'm asking is, the one thing that we want the other person should have is that same thing that you and I should cultivate in ourselves to become qualified for that healthy relationship with other devotees. That's the thing where I'm bringing all of you to. So don't say this thing, which you are correct, but this is not the only thing that we look for. Like-minded, common goal. It doesn't work like this. If that's the case, then all devotees in Krishna consciousness, we all have common goal. At least we say that, in the morning. What is that? To attain the desired success, Krishna Prema. We make public announcement every morning. That's our common goal. We all have it. What is that one quality that we really look for? And that is something which we need to build in ourselves to become qualified to build healthy relationship with us. Madhurati Manjari.
Krishna Prabhuji, please accept normal obeisances. Prabhuji, the person who walks the talk.
Walks the talk? Okay, very nice. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Sandeep Prabhu. So Mother Kripa right, humility. Okay.
One quality which I would say is trust.
Can't hear you well, Prabhu.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
So I would look for trust.
Trust. Anadi Anshuman Prabhu?
Yes, so like at a generic level, it was
just one word answer.
Okay.
No explanation needed. Just use one adjective. Go ahead.
Yeah, trust and humility.
Okay. Madhendu Radhika.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
look for an enthusiastic devotee, Prabhuji.
Enthusiastic. Mother Kishore Rani.
Yeah, I wanted to say the same thing, enthusiasm.
All right. Mother Taruni Gopika.
Non-judgmental.
Non-judgmental. Fantastic. So to those who said enthusiastic, but if he's judgmental, then what would you say? So it looks like non-judgmental is more important than enthusiasm. All right. Mother Manisha.
Prabhuji, is the like and care now the acceptance to hear and to reciprocate also.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Padma Govind Prabhu.
Prabhuji, it is sincerity.
Sincerity, fine. So the subject matter has been discussed at large, and the conclusion of all the leaders is the thing that matters the most while building up relationship is trustworthiness. Trustworthiness. Somebody said here, walk the talk, and somebody is also saying trust. That is of the highest pedestal, which means keeping your words. You can call it honesty, you can call it integrity. Well, although there's a difference between honesty and integrity, but somebody like sincere, that also means genuine, trustworthiness is the most important thing, which is, and if you look back at it, if somebody cannot keep his words, or somebody is, double speak, which means he says something and does something else, how much ever is enthusiastic, etc., you will say, nah, not worthy of it. So that's the first thing. That's something which we should reflect on ourselves. All right. Second thing, let's go to the second part of it. There are three things actually needed for building healthy relationship. One is to be trustworthy. So this is for all of us need to become trustworthy. Second thing is emotional dealings. Emotional deposit, which is kind of mentioned here of, Guhyama Kyati Prachati, Dadati Pratigrahanati, Bhunkate Bhojate. These are all emotional investment, where we spend one-on-one time, and kind of take care. Therefore, there is a system of mentorship. For brahmacharis, the brahmacharis, for grahasthas, the grahasthas, that has been organized in such a way so that some emotional support can be given. Emotional deposit, and then it's called as emotional withdrawal. That's the second thing. And the third thing is to be able to build healthy relationship, which are these things only. I'm just putting in a model format, is listening, ability to listen. And in that listening also, precisely called as emphatic listening. If these three things we can do it, Because here there's this Dadati Pratigana. If you see that we do this quite often, we'll be giving some charity to the temple, we'll be inviting somebody for prasadam. But again, still there is a little fine tuning is needed. So therefore, I give these three things. First, become trustworthy. Second, emotional investment. Spending quality time with an individual, taking out time in your busy life to give a priority to that relationship. Because time is equivalent to love. The more time we spend, it means we really care for that person. That's the second thing. Third thing is ability to listen. What happens generally when we come together is often we want to speak. We want to speak and speak and speak, and we want other person to hear it. Which is okay, but it has to be vice versa also, both the ways. And that's how, if you do these three things, once again, I repeat, become trustworthy, give priority to the relationship, emotional investment, give time, attention to the relationship. And third is become emphatic listener. Emphatic listener in a summary or in concise way, emphatic listener means where we understand not only the content, but also the emotion. Very important. That is called emphatic listening. Just don't say that trying to put yourself in the shoes of the person. What does it mean trying to put in the shoes of the person? Which means understanding two things, content and emotions. How do you understand content? When other person is speaking to you, so you say, oh, Prabhu, just to clarify for myself, are you saying so and so things? Paraphrase him. The other person feels, oh, I've been understood. That is what content. And how do we understand the emotions? By asking questions. So if I'm correct, Prabhu, looks like you were hurt in such and such situation. Can you please elaborate? What caused that hurt feeling for you? And then he gets an opportunity to express his emotion. So like this, emphatic listening. This is a step for emphatic listening. It's not only saying that put yourself, how do you put yourself in the shoes? It's all about asking proper question, understanding the content and emotion. So is that okay? Am I making some sense here? These are all not here in the purport. I just gave a model to just give a more clarity on how do we do it. It's not only about feeding prasadam or receiving prasadam, etc., but these are things that we need to do it. And to be able to do it, the foremost is becoming trustworthy. Becoming trustworthy, keeping our words and commitment. All right, so we just gave you a formula called as C.A.R.E. That's a model for to understand how to build loving relationship, or to even gauge if there is a loving relationship or not. Okay, so shall we move ahead in the purport? The members of any clarification on this subject matter so far? Yes, Anadi Anshuman Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So, Prabhuji, this three things that wonderful three things that you just shared: trustworthy, emotional investment, and ability to listen. Is there a way we can connect these to Dadati Pratigranati and Guhyamakhati Yoginte Bhajate?
See, emotional investment and emphatic listening is Guhyamakhati Prachati. Emotional investment is about giving time largely. That's the priority. So that could be Dadati Pratigranati also and Bhunkate Bhojate Chaiva also. The trustworthiness is a factor which is not explicitly mentioned here. And that is with whom you want to build that relationship. With that, this verse doesn't address with whom. The verse address how to build relationship. With whom you want to build it? The one who is trustworthy. And Prabhupada in the purport is going to, as I said in the beginning, the purport focuses on, we want to build a relationship with devotees, not non-devotees. Now I'm making a point, even within devotees, with whom we would like to do it, the one who's trustworthy. I mean, can you imagine if you don't have trust with each other, what's the meaning of having a relationship? Even if you engage in these 6 things, it just doesn't work. We have to have, if I share my heart, this devotee is going to keep the confidentiality. He's not going to leak it out, regardless of how sincere, how enthusiastic, how genuine he or she is. But I know, I have trust that this person will maintain confidentiality, isn't it? So trustworthy is the first qualification or qualifier where you want to invest. And you would invest then only. It will not work otherwise. You, in your life, if you look at it, you're already doing it. I've just given you a model now. You might do with everyone, dadati pratignati bunkate bhojate chaiva. How many of us can really engage in guhyam akyati prachati? How many of us have people in our life with whom we can engage in guhyam akyati prachati? And if you don't have much people, it's because you doubt others to be trustworthy for you. Yes or no? That's the only thing. Okay. Hare Krishna. Anything else on this? Mother Manju Bhashini.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes,
Pranam. Prabhu, my question is this relationship concept only coming for other means outside the house? Basically, we are, what I felt is we are very sweet too, and we try to give time to the outside devotees, etc. But when it comes to a home, actually we don't find time. That means having relationship, the trustworthiness would be there, ability to listen will be there. But nowadays the trend is such that there is no time for anybody. And when it comes to a home, it becomes like you take it for granted. And there is no, when there means we are from Krishna conscious, we don't have time for each other's or the care in the house. How are we going to do this outside, this pratiganati or this shloka, what we said?
So yeah,
it becomes
so
difficult. So
correct. It's a valid point.
How
Therefore,
can we that?
See, it's a valid point. We all struggle with it. And therefore, we kind of give you a system, kind of a model to look at it. If you want to have a relationship with somebody, you know, we all need some good relationships. We all need some good friends.
Prabhu, you're on mute.
I am not on mute. I am very much audible.
Now you're
No,
audible.
Prabhu,
Oh,
we
okay,
couldn't hear
sorry.
you, Prabhu.
Yeah. I
Prabhu,
was
we
not on
couldn't hear.
mute. My internet connection became unstable. ये एयरटेल वालों की गड़बड़ है, मेरा नहीं है. ठीक है? Okay. Yeah, what were we talking here? Yeah, Mother Manju's question. So these days we're not finding time for our own people, etc., which is a very genuine question. So yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasa karmashu. I'm quoting this verse in relationship of we have to organize our life in a way where we identify 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the 6 important people in my life. 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. First of all, you need to identify who are the important people in your life. And then you have to allocate time for them. You have to give priority to them above everyone else. Why we are into this situation where we're not able to give time to our people, our family members, etc., because we have not done self-organization. Where we don't know ourselves, you know, which is who is the priority to me. So do the self-organization, identify who are the important relationship for us and give time. Otherwise, how would we do it? I mean, let's imagine as a, a homemaker or as a mother or as a professional lady, you have a challenge. Think about what will happen if you're a preacher, if you're a leader. Can you think about it? What will happen? Life would be in chaos. So we need to identify who are the people. These are the people with whom, if they call me, I keep everything aside. These are the most important relationship. Everything else goes on hold. Because relationship means time. So that self-organization, you have to do it for yourself. And relationship cannot sustain. You cannot have proper guhyam akyati prachati, where if you're not able to give time to each other. Now, prior to that, there has to be certain compatibility, as some of you said, amongst devotees. You have to have certain compatibility, with each other also, where you like spending time and you know that the frequency matches, understanding matches. But largely, I would say, in the beginning days or maybe for a good amount of time, this should be exercised at least in one relationship, that is our senior relationship. because that's a place from where we received a lot. That should be, so there should be some senior relationship that should be our priority. Then there could be some peer relationship that should be our priority. And there could be some junior relationship that's our priority. Like that, we have to organize for ourselves. And to them, we give an attention. Another point to this, as an individual, we really cannot have too many relationships of this quality. Therefore, once you actually look into the subject matter a little more deeply, then you will understand how Krishna can only be Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's no question. First. Second, you will understand I am totally insignificant. Why? Because Krishna could exchange loving exchanges. Krishna could have loving exchanges with not 1, 2, 3, 16,108 queens. He never said, Prabhu, time nahi hai. Kaise time do main? You do a rough calculation. In a year, you have 365 days. Multiply by 5, which means in 5 years, Krishna would have given attendance to his one wife. But no wife complains ever, because Krishna was there with all the wives every single day. Actually, we don't have too much time, but if you look at this verse, there are many, many ways we can look at it. Then you realize, bhai, apna seema nahi hai. Hum sahi mein chote jeev hain. Prabhu, Prabhu hai. He can manage, he can have relationship with each and everyone, but we can't have it. So at least let me have 5, 6, 8, 7, whatever, some number which I can, give quality time, because relationship is time. There's no question of having a relationship without time. All right.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So let's continue. If there's something else, we'll take it at the end. Let's complete this purport and the verse for today. The members of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Okay, Mother Rati Manjari, go ahead.
Prabhuji, which one? If the members of the Human Society. Okay, so okay, thank you. The members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness invite the Society's members and supporters to dine with them when they hold feasts in all their branches every Sunday. Many interested people come to honor prasada, and whenever possible, they invite members of the Society to their homes and feed them sumptuously with prasada. In this way, both the members of the Society and the general public are benefited. People should give up the company of so-called yogis, jnanis, karmis, and philanthropists, because their association can benefit no one. If one really wants to attain the goal of human life, he should associate with devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement, because it is the only movement that teaches one how to develop love of God. Religion is the special function of human society, and it constitutes the distinction between human society and animal society. Animal society has no church, mosque, or religious system. In all parts of the world, however downtrodden human society may be, there is some system of religion. Even tribal aborigines in the jungles also have a system of religion. When a religious system develops and turns into love of God, it is successful. As stated in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.6, Savai Pumsa Parodharma Yato Bhaktiradokshije Ahituki Apratihata Yahatma Suprasidati. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted in order to completely satisfy the self. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, should I
Hare
continue?
Krishna. All
Thank
right,
you,
Mother
Prabhuji.
Methavni, continue. हरे कृष्णा. कृपया करके अनम्यूट करने का प्रयत्न करें.
Hare Krishna, Kanad Pranams Prabhu.
Yes, go ahead, Mother.
If the members of human society actually want peace of mind, tranquility, and friendly relations between men and nations, they must follow the Krishna conscious system of religion, by which they can develop their dormant love for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As soon as people do so, their minds will immediately be filled with peace and tranquility. In this regard, Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Ṭhākura warns all devotees engaged in broadcasting the Krishna consciousness movement, not to speak to the impersonalist Mayavadis, who are always determined to oppose such theistic movements.
Hare Krishna.
The world, Hare Krishna.
So now, just for a second, now Prabhupada is going to talk about quoting Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, with whom not to apply this, loving exchanges. So Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antilila, 6th chapter, verse number 278, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Vishaira na khaile malina hai mana, malina man haile nahe Krishnera smarana. If one eats the food of a materialist, one's mind becomes polluted. When the mind becomes polluted, one cannot remember Krishna. In other words, this is not only limited to anakhaile. Even if we accept a charity, anything, then we also take their energy that affects our heart and consciousness. So therefore, first of all, we don't take anything for ourselves. Everything we take it for the service of Guru and Gauranga. Now, why it is mentioned specifically about Anna? Because the food is something which we can accept and honor it. So that is very clearly mentioned. We should not eat food from the hands of non-devotees and should not engage in this kind of loving exchanges with them. So we don't take their association. At max, we want to do it. We give our association by giving them Krishna consciousness. But we don't inquire from them. That's the point over here. You can invite them for program. Please take Krishna Prasadam. But we don't accept the invitation, or, that's the reason, we don't go and accept things that they offer. That's the point mentioned here. Please go ahead, Mother.
The world is full of Mayavadis and atheists, and the political parties of the world take advantage of Mayavada and other atheistic philosophies to promote materialism. Sometimes they even back a strong party to oppose the Krishna consciousness movement. The Mayavadis and other atheists do not want the Krishna consciousness movement to develop because it educates people in God consciousness. Such is the policy of the atheists. There is no benefit in feeding a snake milk and bananas because a snake will never be satisfied. On the contrary, by taking milk and bananas, the snake simply becomes poisonous. Kevalam Vishavardhanam. If a snake is given milk to drink, its poison simply increases. For a similar reason, we should not disclose our minds to the serpent Mayavadis and Karmis. Such disclosures will never help. It is best to avoid association with them completely and never ask them about anything confidential because they cannot give good advice. Nor should we extend invitations to Mayavadis and atheists, nor accept their invitations. For by such intimate intermingling, we may become affected by their atheistic mentality. Sangat sanjayate kamaha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
In regards to this, one should not extend invitation. One should not go to their invitation. Again, you should cut the coat of your size, which means it's a matter of one's ability. So we should not read this to become and judge any other devotee if in case they are attending or going into such forums. Oh, Prabhupada said one should not do it. One should not invite them. One should not go to their event. Well, the point here is this principle is true, but it's again also depends on, these are the Prabhupada words, one should cut the coat of one's according to one's size. So if I have the ability and I have been given the service to mingle with them, because we have interfaith dialogues at times, we meet such people, for public relations, we come together on a common platform for different events. So that does happen also, because we are part of the society. We're not living in a forest. We cannot just cut out ourselves. So just don't, project this over there. Hey, how come these devotees are doing when Prabhupada said no? Not like that, okay? All right. Vasana Mataji, please read further.
Hare Krishna Prabhupada pranams. It is the negative injunction of this verse that we should refrain from giving anything to or accepting anything from the Mayavadis and atheists. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also warned, Visa yira anna khaile dusta hayamana. When one eats food prepared by worldly people, one's mind becomes wicked. Unless one is very advanced, he is unable to utilize everyone's contribution to further the Krishna conscious movement. Therefore, on principle, one should not accept charity from the Mayavadis or atheists. Indeed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has forbidden devotees to associate even with ordinary men who are too addicted to material sense gratification.
So the idea is, this is particularly for Kanishta Adhikaris, rather than influencing them because their faith is weak, their knowledge is weak, they would get influenced by them and they may get distracted. So that's a principle, which is principle way, which is true if you're Kanishta. But if you're Madhyama, then you can give your association there to elevate them. Srila Prabhupada, Uttam Adhikari, he went to the hippie land, so it may seem contradictory, but again, cut the coat of your size. That's a principle here. Okay. All right. Moli Mohan Prabhu, you read the conclusion part.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam.
Yes.
The conclusion is that we should always keep company with the devotees, observe the regulative devotional principles, follow in the footsteps of the acharyas, and in full obedience carry out the orders of the spiritual master. In this way, we shall be able to develop our devotional service and dormant Krishna consciousness. The devotee who is neither a neophyte nor a Mahabhagavata, a greatly advanced devotee, but is within the middle status of devotional service, is expected to love the Supreme Personality of Godhead, make friends with the devotees, show favor to the ignorant, and reject the jealous and demoniac. In this verse, there is brief mention of the process of making loving transactions with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and making friends with the devotees. According to the Dadati principle, an advanced devotee is supposed to spend at least 50% of his income on the service of the Lord and his devotees. Srila Rupa Gosvami has set such an example in his life. When he decided to retire, he distributed 50% of his life's earning to Krishna's service and 20% to his relatives and 25% for personal emergencies.
Hare Krishna.
Example,
So if you see here, Prabhupada himself says an advanced devotee. It is not expected to be done immediately by everyone. It is gradually to come to a stage where now we can contribute. So just apply this with the care. Not that everyone who's earning has to contribute 50%. Prabhupada said an advanced devotee is supposed to spend at least 50%. So to the degree of our surrender and shelter, if we know that we can be just happy with the bare minimum, and if you know that whatever Guru orders or Guru gives us our quota, I will be happy. Or else, if you have reached a Vanaprastha stage where you have settled all your family obligation, now you're in the Vanaprastha stage, you don't have much, your kids are well settled off, you're independent of their responsibility, obligation. Now it's far much easier for you to contribute. And we should, at some stage of life, we should not wait till the fag end of life, but we should, at some stage of life, come to the situation where we are able to make contribution like this. Okay, please go ahead. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. What happened? The screen is frozen again? Okay, Murli Mohan Prabhu looks like frozen here. This example should be followed by all devotees. Whatever one's income, 50% should be spent on behalf of Krishna and his devotees. And this will fulfill the demands of Dadati. In the next verse, Srila Rupa Gosvami informs us what kind of Vaishnava should be selected as a friend and how Vaishnava should be served. In other words, now Prabhupada is saying, in the next verse, we'll get to know among all the Vaishnavas, whom should we select as a friend and with whom we should engage in this 6 loving exchanges. That whom to engage with, we have already discussed that. 3 things we talked about. The foremost of that was trustworthiness, where we have trust. Now, how does trust develops? Any thoughts? Or what do you mean by trustworthiness? Trustworthiness just does not mean walk the talk. That is just one subset of it. Yes, Anadi and Shuman Prabhu. What is trustworthiness means?
So Prabhu, one is definitely like creditworthiness or like walk the talk, and the other is also to what extent one is less self-oriented and more oriented towards the person one is talking to.
All right. So there are two things which makes you trustworthy. One is your character, and second is your competencies. That's all. Everything else falls into that. I'll repeat again. What makes one trustworthy? Two things. Your character, walk the dog, integrity, etc., etc. And second is competencies, your skills, your ability to do things. These are the two things that makes you trustworthy. So we talked about whom should we invest, how do we do it, emotional deposit, prioritize the relationship, self-organization, identify a certain relationship where you want to really give priority. And the third was emphatic listening. Not only speak, but learn the quality of listening also. Like that we do it. All right. Any questions or any clarification on this particular shloka? Dadati pratignanati guhyamakyati prachati bunkate vojate jayava shadvidam priti lakshanam. Okay, let's do one quick exercise here. I'm not going to ask you for an answer for it. Let's just pause for 30 seconds. I want all of us to do a little self-introspection. And it's equally important for me. Please write down the names of all those devotees, all those individuals, where you have this sense of relationship, where you have this trustworthy, confidential relationship, with whom you can just go and open your heart. You know that this devotee is going to listen to me, and this devotee is not going to reveal, break the confidentiality, and he's my genuine well-wisher. Have we identified such individuals? Just write on that. Think of it. Do we have such individuals? You don't have to answer that. Just I'm saying, just do a quick brainstorming. Do we have any such individuals in our life with whom, we do dadati pratignati, bunkate bojite, and most importantly, guhyam akyati prachati. We reveal our heart and we receive their instructions also. And receiving instructions is only as good as we are able to follow it. Because if you're not able to follow it, the next time onward, you will not get instructions also. That's another factor of relationship. Then it makes the subject matter a little more bigger. I just like to keep it to the time. Okay. 30 seconds. Can you think of any such relationships? If we have or not. You don't have to answer, but you just have to write it down for yourself in your notebook. Then maybe I'll take you to the next question. If you're done, please raise your virtual hands. Well, then I can give you the second question. If you're done with this exercise, kindly raise your virtual hands. Then we'll take you to the second question. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So many of you have done that. Okay. So second question is, let's do something on relation to Mother Manju's question. Let's do a little bit of self-organization. Identify or write down the names of the people who you consider the most important, with whom you, these are the most important people in our life, and I give them the highest priority because these are very important for my overall well-being and growth. Just write down the names, and then after you do that, writing down the names, then you can put them into category. My seniors, my equals, my juniors. Juniors could be your kids, because many of your congregation years, you might be giving attention, which is genuine. So then they become junior like this. So can we make this a little bit? Identify who are these people. Write down the names that you have, that you can think of. You might need maybe more than 30 seconds just to think for it, in case you haven't done this exercise before. हरे कृष्णा. किसी को पसीने तो नहीं आ रहे? मैं थोड़ा टेंशन तो नहीं दे रहा ना किसी को एक प्रश्न पूछ के? Somehow this introspection exercises gives us a little, puts us into a difficult spot. All right. How many of you have done that? Please raise your virtual hands if you've done that exercise. So in essence, I'll make this last statement and conclude with that. If in case anyone has anything to ask, we can discuss. If for both the questions, the first question was, how many of us have, individuals in our life with whom we can just go and open our heart? That was the first question. 1, 2, 3 people, or if you have the names cited. Second question was about the names of the individuals with whom you want to build this relationship, or to whom you give the highest priority. These people are very important for me. You have identified that like that. If you are able to do that, if you have the clarity on that, then I would say we are in a healthy state of life. We are in a good situation in our Krishna consciousness. But in case if these two questions are not in right place, then there are going to be a lot of, okay, I should not sound depressing here, but there are going to be a little bit of issues around our life. Major issue is emotional imbalance. We are living entities. We are not dead matter. We need emotional connection. So there are going to be a little bit emotional upheavals of not having right people around us, not having an understanding with whom we spend time, with not whom we spend time, like that. So then our Krishna consciousness, the growth, overall growth doesn't happen to that degree. And then we have a fallout, we have outbursts, and etc. Like things happen like this. All right, a little bit of introspection. Hopefully you can take it some clue from here and take it forward. How to apply this verse in your own life. I guess I've given some things. I've given you care formula. I've spoken about the process of model, the importance of model of the process. We should see everything in that perspective. And there's a process for everything. And we discuss about building healthy relationships, what is needed for that, and whatever was given to us. So, all right, that's it for me. Our time is also up for today. Thank you all for your kind attention. Jagadguru Śrīla Prabhupada ki, Sri Rupa Gosvami ki, Sri Upadeśāmṛta ki. So if we have any questions, I'm available. We can have that. In case anyone has some other engagement, they're more than welcome to move on. Class is officially closed. Yes. Mother Madhavni, your hand is up, and Mother Chintamani, your hand is up. We can take their questions. Go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandat Pranam.
Yes.
Prabhu, okay, so we have identified the list, right? So we have the names of, at least I have, I identified 6 or 7 people. Out of them, 4 are seniors, right? I believe that my seniors are trustworthy. They have, but I have a problem that, because they are mentors for many devotees, the time is an issue, right?
Correct.
And they're not able to give me so much of time, right? So in that case, what is the, because, we cannot build that connect with many people, right? Very few chosen few.
So got the question. So what do we do if seniors don't have time for us, right?
Yeah.
So this is always going to be a challenge. So when we are in the beginning days of Krishna consciousness, the senior association makes a lot of difference. When we have been around for 10, 20 years, and then our greatest strength comes from peer association. How senior association guides us? Through Vani. The parameters changes then. Because if you are in the movement for 20 years, your senior should be at least in the movement for 25 years, 30 years. Now, do you expect for the devotee who has been in movement for so long to sit with you and spend 1 hour, 2 hours? It's just not possible.
6
You know,
hours. Why only 1 or 2 hours?
humanly is impossible. So therefore, when you have grown yourself, have spent time, then is Vani is what gives you strength, should give strength. And Vani is giving strength, then you're properly connected. Vani is not giving strength, then to say that that's my senior is not actually genuine then. Because then our strength comes from Vani. Now, where do we find our emotional space or emotionally? Then that is covered through peer association. Because ultimately that emotional need to be fulfilled, the person should have time because that is fulfilled through time. But can you imagine yourself? If you, let's say somebody is just 2 months in the movement, so he could get this need fulfilled through anyone who has been in the movement for 3 years also. Somebody who's in 3 years of movement has a lot of time with him. Or somebody who's there in the movement for 20 years, where does he has time to demand time from them? And then they have so many people to take care of. It's just not practical. It's just not possible. And that's a human limitation. That's a challenge which all the leaders in our ISKCON faces all the time. In case of Srila Prabhupada, how many disciples of Prabhupada even got a chance to speak to him? It didn't happen. But everyone until today draws their strength from his Vani, from their personal example. So look at what has happened in the past. And this is always the case. So the formula not going to change. So again, if you're just in the beginning stages, your needs can be managed by any senior. But when you're grown up, your needs will be taken care of by somebody who's really senior than you. But unfortunately, the somebody who's senior than you would not have the time that you're demanding for. It doesn't work like that. Our sense of seniority comes that, now we have far much more stability in our relationship with Krishna. And that gets manifested through a peer association, other devotee association. Has to be like that. That's how it works out. All right, Mother.
Prabhu, I would, at least from my experience, I can see that it's not the number of years that we are in the movement that determines the seniority, because sometimes somebody who's been in the movement just say for 4 or 5 years, and somebody whom we have only brought to Krishna consciousness.
No. That's not my point. That is not my point. The point of seniority, I'm not counting number of years. The point I'm saying is somebody who had been in the movement for a while, he would find shelter only from a person who had been more mature and more senior. And the larger number of years you have spent, so then you're not going to find somebody shelter for somebody who has been in the movement for 3-4 years. That devotee must have spent also many years, maybe lesser than you, more than you. But the point is that devotee has become a senior devotee, has many responsibility. He would not have the time which otherwise somebody who was in the 2nd, 3rd year of his Krishna consciousness could give. That's the point here. All right. Mother Chintamani, please go ahead. You got to unmute yourself, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, it's not this verse, it's the previous verse that I had a doubt. There, Prabhupada is talking of a devotee, a fallen devotee, may take birth in a lower family in his next life and continue with his devotional service. But what was confusing me is in the Neha Bhikrama Ashasti, as well as in the 6th chapter in the fallen yogi, the destination of a fallen yogi, what is said is that the devotee, even if he falls down, he goes to the heavenly planets, and from there he takes birth in a aristocratic or a highly Brahman family, so that he can continue his devotion service. But here it is mentioned that he takes birth in a lower family and continues.
Chitraketu
Lower family,
Maharaj,
how will he?
Chitraketu Maharaj became Vritrasur. Raja Indradumna became Gajendra. Yes.
Yes.
We have examples from Bhagavatam only. So principally, what is said is correct, but in both the cases they were cursed. So when it is said Neha Bhikrama Nashasi Pratyavayana Vidyate, the point is, first is any amount of devotional practice never goes in vain. Second is, now in case of, let's say, Indradumna, he was cursed. That's a different thing. But anyone who has chanted even once, his human life is guaranteed, or
Yeah.
a destination from where he will make a progress. Not necessarily has to be Brahmana. In today's day and time, you're born in a Brahmana, you're born into Vaishya family, doesn't make a difference. In Kali Yuga, frankly speaking. So not that way. So sixth chapter, that particular discussion, you see in today's context, how does it really matter? You know? So, but we
Prabhu,
have
what
examples
was
like that.
confusing me was that if the person again takes birth in a family of lower mentality, that he will again face obstructions in his devotional life.
Yeah, he would, or he may not. Not necessarily. Same holds for somebody who takes a birth in a rich family. Janma Aishwarya Shutashi Phir Edhaman Madhapuman. हाँ या ना? That creates pride, that creates intoxication. That's also a problem. I would say born into a let's say low-class family or poverty-stricken family is far better opportunity. But that's what the verse says. Janma Aishwarya Shutashi Phir Edhaman Madhapuman. Naibhati vidhatum vai tvam akinchana gocharam. At least it's very easy for people who don't have anything to take your shelter. But those who have everything, they just can't take a shelter. So that way it looks like. So it's just in that way, all right. Anadi and Shwan Prabhu.
Thank you.
So, Hare Krishna, Brother. So, just to the question of Mataji, Trayate Mahato Bhayat. So, in this Mahato Bhayat is not getting a human life, or is it like something else? Because we see that even after devotional service, certain people didn't get human life.
Actually, this is beyond our comprehension, how it's going to work it out. Because one thing is karma and daiva naitrena. You know, karma and daiva. Under the influence of these two, your next life is decided. To really say this is what's going to happen, our fair enough assumption is when Krishna says, I protect, he protects. How his protection comes into an action, we don't know that. We really can't decode that. The particular case was a case of a curse. The particular case was a case of an accident, incidental accident, fall down from a path of bhakti. We don't know what exactly happened, how it goes about. But one thing for sure, once your spiritual life has begun, then Prabhupada says you're forcefully dragged to perfection. That happens for sure. What will be your next life and all that? Generally, it is believed it will be a human form of life. But in certain cases, Indradumna Maharaj was particularly cursed. Chitraketu was cursed. That's a different situation.
Like Jal Bharat wasn't cursed, but in spite of devotional service, he had to take the life of a deer. So,
Antakale Yamya Vapi Smaran Bhavam will hold true, na?
Correct,
How did
but
Krishna
Mahato
protected
Bhayat-
him? Krishna protected him by making sure he remembers everything was past life.
Yeah. So Mahato Bhayat here is exactly referring to what?
So say from the greatest danger, which means gliding down to lower species of life and getting lost there.
Okay. And getting lost is
That's
more-
important
yeah,
thing.
is also
Getting
important.
lost there. Even if you go into lower species of life, you remember Krishna, how does it matter? Narayana parasarve na kutashana bibhiti swarga pavarga narkeshu apitulyata darshana. I don't mind going to swarga, getting liberation, or even going to narka, which is lower species of life, as long as I remain sheltered at your lotus feet. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patina bhav vishame bhavambudam. Like that. All right. Okay.
So, sorry, Prabhuji. So that was kind of continuation of Mataji's question, but my I had another question which I had originally thought of. So we said trustworthiness is equivalent to character and competence. Character
Yes.
is what we could have guessed by default, but how is competence related to
I
trustworthiness?
said both, not alone.
Yeah.
It has to be both.
But why is competence needed for trustworthiness? Like, I may trust someone who is probably not competent but has a good character.
See,
right?
yeah. I mean, good character is all in all really doesn't work. Is needed, is the backbone of it, of your personality. Emphatic listening is a kind of a skill. Is a competency, is your strength. You are a sincere person, you're not going to speak a lie, but you just don't have the ability to hear others. Emphatic listening has got nothing to do with character. Has it got to do with character or competency? Say an answer. You're nodding your head. Emphatic listening is a subject matter of character or competency?
Is competence.
So what do you say now? Character plus competency?
So, but a person might be trustworthy even if he doesn't do emphatic listening, right?
Ari, then how would you have that relationship built with him?
I don't know, difficult to have a relationship, but he might still be trustworthy, right? Matlab,
Oh, okay. No.
yeah.
So the concept of trustworthiness, which I spoke here, was in relationship, building a relationship, not a standalone trustworthiness. I spoke that in a context of building healthy relationship. There I said trust means character and competence, because we are speaking on the context of building healthy relationship.
Okay.
But that's what our discussion here, na? So I was not handling the subject of trustworthiness in isolation. The context was how to build healthy relationship. The first thing is trust. What does trust mean? There are two things, character and competence. That's it. Now, if you see what is a character, emotional dealings, emotional investment, which means, confidentiality. He hears me. And emphatic listening is a skill part. So character and competency like this. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
So I'll have to conclude here. I have
Prabhu, I have a
meeting
related
lined up.
question with the Anshuman.
If it can be answered in 30 seconds, and
Yes,
because I'm getting late. Yes,
Yeah.
Mother, go ahead.
So Prabhu, what are the other examples of competence? Like one you said is emphatic listening. Keeping things confidential, would that be character or competence? And what other
Character.
examples can we? What other examples of competence can we give here?
Fantastic. That's a good homework question for all of you. Mother Medhavni can post on the group. And everyone here are matured Krishna conscious practitioners for decades together. And let everyone come back what it is. When it is pending, the next week when we meet, then I'll add more inputs on what competency means. But it's a very valid question. Fine?
Okay,
Makes sense?
thank you.
All right. Thank you all for joining it.